candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Hello, Mr. Fancy.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch. Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary.
Want some candy?
The time has come to have some fun. We might be funny and we might be dumb. So get ready to have some laughs and pass some gas, cause this is Monster Candy Podcast.
Woo! We're here.
Bravo.
Yeah, buddy.
Very impressive. It's a shock that
I
we're
totally
here.
didn't do that twice either. That was the first time.
No, this is the first time.
Yeah, that
time,
was
best
great.
time.
First
Dude,
take.
I think that was like ad lib too, right?
Totally. I wasn't reading it off anything.
Yeah,
at
I don't
all.
think you planned that at all and like
Nope.
thought about the rhymes and
Mm-mm.
the
I'm just a
syllables
poet.
or anything. It just
And I know
was
it.
really smooth. Yeah. It was like you were rap battling. It was crazy,
Right?
but without somebody competing with you.
Am I like the new
Super-
Vanilla Ice?
I mean, you
Rip
guys
Van
have
Winkle.
some similarities.
Rod Van Winkle, right? Isn't that his name?
Rob
Van
Van
Yeah.
Winkle. Yeah.
I could see that. I mean, I feel like you guys would be friends.
Yeah, I could probably be friends with him. He seems like
I mean-
he seems like people I've grown up with.
Yeah, definitely like busting coffee tables and like breaking stuff just like instead of using words.
Right.
But then using words to create beautiful music. It's
Oh
crazy.
my god. And
Yeah.
remember, it's that one. It's not din 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 din. din. It's din 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 din. See,
I will never
Different.
forget. I
Yeah.
will never forget that explanation.
Totally different.
completely different.
Completely.
Yeah.
What's
No,
up,
it wasn't
everybody?
a sample.
Dude, it's been a day. It's been a day.
It's been a day for everybody. Well, not me, but
It's
You
been like
too.
a long 48 hours.
well, now we're here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we are. Despite all odds, because we've canceled over stupid reasons, like we do that all the time. And then I was like, I'm not going to do that again. I'm just not. And then after what transpired in the last 48 hours, and my only day that was going to be a day off today, turning not into a day off,
Don't you love it when that happens?
well, I mean, that's every week for me, but usually it's not as bad as this one. And I've recently been super microdosing THC.
Yeah.
I never
oh,
liked I never liked the feeling of getting
I
stoned
thought you were
ever.
gonna say mushrooms. I was gonna be like, yeah.
No, that would be cool. But I never really liked being stoned. Even in California, I went through a brief teenage smoking pot thing, and I hated every minute of it. But like 2 months ago, maybe a friend gave me some gummies, and when I mean microdosing, I mean like 1 milligram I'll take.
Mhm.
And it actually made me not want to drink. I felt good. I went to sleep early. I woke up early, was able to work out, and I was like, huh.
All right, Cheech.
So yeah, totally super stoner. So on nights, like normal nights, I've been doing that, and I've cut back on drinking. I've lost almost 15 pounds, I think, just probably from not drinking as much and like being able to make time to work out because I wake up early. But anyways, so I got home today after going in thinking I didn't have to, and I took what I thought was like a third of the gummy, which I usually did, or maybe just because I haven't taken one in a few days, but I fucking got high.
Yeah.
And I still don't really like it, but I like it a little bit more than I used to. But it made me really tired. So then that made me really pessimistic about doing this. But because we've had so many snafus, I was like, no, Courtney, get your shit together. We're going to do this.
I think you should start microdosing mushrooms.
I
We
just,
should all do it on an
I-
episode and just trip balls.
right. So if it's
I
legal,
don't even do
I will,
drugs
but
either.
so
So
yeah, I don't do drugs other than just recently this, which is now legal in New York. But I definitely don't
and bath salts.
do any. No, like I've never been a big drug person other than cocaine in my 20s. And then after I
Yeah.
did some time in jail, I haven't done anything and don't have any interest in
Well,
it, which is why it was even so hard to
nobody
think
likes a
about
quitter.
microdosing and THC. Yeah.
Time to get back
well,
on that horse.
yeah. Oh, of course. My life is very different now and I have no interest. But it is very funny to me that I've been microdosing THC because it's like, yeah, I don't know. I find it funny. But yeah, I got a little high and had a giggle fit. And that was super weird for me because that's like not my thing. And that was at like,
I think
don't know,
next time
4
you should do
p.m.
it before we record.
I mean, honestly, I have an entire pantry cabinet full of gummies in my kitchen that are like
I don't do
labeled
drugs.
so no one touches them.
I
I
just
said-
microdose. Slide open a door full of drugs.
Yeah, I said it's legal in New York, number one. Number two, because I had to drive out to Massachusetts to get them.
Oof.
I bought enough for like 8 months. So I spent like an entire $120 to get me through 8 months. So if you don't believe my microdosing statement, that should probably tell you how small of
We'll
an
see.
amount I'm taking.
We'll talk in 4 months and see how your stock is. If you're still stocked.
No, I'm 2 months. I'm 2 months in already, and
Okay.
I'm
No. We'll
Yeah.
see. We will see.
what? I don't take them every day. But
It'd
anyways,
be a lot cooler if you did.
probably. But luckily, I really don't care about being cool. If I cared
Just-
about that, I wouldn't have
just
started playing
saying.
keyboard in a punk band.
Just saying.
I saw a question.
I literally have done the least cool things so many times.
I just saw a question that said, like, hey, does anybody know of punk bands that have keyboards in them? And I scrolled
Saw
down the
that
whole
too,
way.
but they said 4 members or less.
Oh, all right. I didn't see that part. So you saw it too. I was
Because
like, nobody
someone's-
mentioned us. I
Yeah.
was like,
No,
We're
they
like,
did.
duh.
Someone said no.
Oh.
Someone said Murder City Devils, and they're like, no, that's 5. And someone else said Tsunami Bomb, and they're like, that's 5. And then
That's true.
someone else made a joke being like, or 12 because of all their member changes. I don't.
no. I didn't see that when
But
I
yeah,
looked at
I
it. When I
saw-
initially looked at it, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, not even us? Okay.
No, it said 4 members or less.
Well, that's
But I mean, are
bullshit.
you
'Cause-
even really a band if you haven't had at least 3 alternate members at some point?
I don't know what everybody
Yes,
harps on
yes,
original
yes,
members.
you're
so
still
much
a
for.
band. Band's actually like a band of people or things. So yes, you can be a band and just have the band.
Mm,
I swear to
don't
God.
believe it.
But
Yeah.
I mean, have you paid your dues? Maybe no. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Maybe that should be what bands are like. You cannot do it unless you stick with the same fucking members the whole time. Could you imagine the stories and how many more suicides there would be and ODs if that was like
Murders,
a thing?
If you're forced
Yeah,
to stay,
murders, rapes, whatever. We're gonna go all over the place. Fucking like strangulations, force feeding, spankings. There's all
Dicks.
kinds of things.
force feeding dicks.
Bags
Bags
of
of
dicks.
dicks.
I literally had to say, it's like, dude, what do you want us all to do? Like, I told them, like, fans do the best they fucking can. Like, generally speaking, you get the people who want to still be in it and are willing to put up with shit to do the band. Like, you're gonna punish them because they've had member changes. I don't know what to tell you. Like, fucking musicians are assholes. I've literally had a full day of musicians being assholes.
Actually, Dude, we just segued so much into, I mean, we're going to do horror news, but that was a great segue into the movie we're doing because we're doing Suicide Squad, and Suicide Squad was literally just done. And I don't mean like just done like fucking Dennis the Menace or, whatever else, but I mean like it was just done.
Yeah.
And
then it was done again.
Yeah. And that fucking band got broke the fuck up other than one person.
2. We had 2. Oh, we had 3. There were 3 people from the last movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh.
I mean,
Same
we can
characters.
get into this, but Harley Quinn.
We'll talk about later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Harley Quinn is just the most obvious.
Go back to that.
But there's 2 others that were in the last movie. All right. Well,
how was your day, Dom?
My day fucking sucked. Fuck the music business. Certain days it was like, some days it's the best decision I ever made, and other days it's the worst decision I ever made. And today it was not the best decision.
Maybe you should.
God, that feels like the restaurant industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine it does. Yeah, if you're gonna start a band, I don't know, take basic math. Maybe try that so you can understand basic math when you be in a band. I know it's weird to say, but if you're going to enter into a fucking contract, maybe you want to like a look at the numbers and make sense of it so you don't get pissed off later. Fuck bands.
Really?
That's what I'm saying. Fuck music. Actually, one time I was at a show and Jello asked me if I even like music, and I literally went, and I was serious because it was.
I don't go to concerts.
It was like
I don't.
I was like,
I go see
like
Nick Cave. No, I go see Nick Cave, and I've seen Cyndi Lauper. And other than that, I think those are the only 2 tickets I've bought in 15 years to a concert. 10 years.
When I go to shows, if
others,
I see,
I mean, other than when we play stuff, but I don't really do that. I don't like it. I don't.
Yeah.
Well, you put in. It
actually makes me.
At shows,
when we play shows, sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I was young, but now it honestly actually makes me sad.
You go to shows?
Like after I quit Tsunami Bomb, I stopped going to shows because I would go and it would make me sad. Like 1, I would miss the stage, and 2, like I'd be egotistical as fuck and be like, dude, I should be the one on stage. Like this is fucking.
That actually is a shitty thing to say, but like that I'm about to say is that relates to that is that when I go to shows, I find, and I don't know if either of you feel this because Oobliette doesn't go to shows, but we just established that. But like when I go, I'll watch a band, and if the band's terrible, I will sit there and go, why am I wasting time watching this? I should just go home and work on my shit. And then if I see a band that's great, I go, oh my God, this is fantastic. I should go home and work on my shit. So like being at a show makes me immediately want to go home and write better songs.
Just go home and
work
do
on
your shit.
Better stuff because I'm either like annoyed or I'm blown away. And then if I'm blown away, I'm still like, oh man, I got to work on my stuff. But
it's the same thing when I go out to eat. Like I fucking love the food field so much, but like my husband will laugh because we'll walk in and go to eat, and within 2 seconds he's like, how many seats are in here? And I'm like, 25. He's like, how many people are working? I'm like, 4. And he's like, oh yeah, does the math work? I'm like, absolutely not. Their labor cost is at least at 42%. This fucking chef in the back has his head up his ass. Like nothing's coming out of the past. No one's delegating anything. The busser is in the fucking back talking to a waitress he has a crush on, and our fucking waitress just sucks. And he's like, so great to have a date night.
Wait person, Oobliette.
Waitress. In this scenario, because I was thinking of a specific memory from 3 nights ago, it was a waitress.
Yeah.
But yeah, they, them, he, she, her, what.
Yeah. Well, I don't go out ever. So the last 2 bands I went to see, mostly because all the people I like, all the bands and stuff I like are dead. But was the Queers and the Sloppy Seconds. And that's probably the last bands I will go to see for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, shows are canceling all over again.
Yes.
Again. So it looked like for a second something was going to happen, and
Ha.
we might actually have a chance of doing stuff. And then
Not in this simulation.
Nope.
This simulation
All
is
done.
it's not done yet.
Yeah, no, it's not done with us yet. Not by a long shot.
It's in a constant reboot stage right now, so it's going to take a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, we've had the Murder Hornets, we've had the Plague, which isn't done yet. Aliens kind of peeked their head a little bit and then disappeared because no one really cares, but they'll be back.
What?
For sure.
When was the last show you played? E.
Last March.
So March 2020.
Yeah, it was like
right before.
Literally like a week before everything shut down.
Wow.
It was like at the end of March.
My last show with Oobliette was November 2019.
I remember that.
Mhm.
And we played some shows
Yeah,
after
it was
that.
the time E and I met, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that the only time we met in person?
Mm-hmm.
Pictures to prove it.
Yeah,
That's true.
documentation.
But then I played
Thank God they were in black and white.
4 shows after that
What? It makes
without,
you look so much better.
which was a bummer because Oobliette couldn't make those, and everybody got sick with a mysterious illness.
I remember that.
Super
And-
mysterious, yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't the flu, but it was very like the flu and couldn't really breathe. Yeah, it was great. And
Started with
yeah, everybody went down in flames, and yeah, and then that was it. Nothing since then.
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
the first show we were supposed to play is in October, and I'm not too confident that's gonna happen.
Yeah, we were talking about doing shows for a minute, and then it just was obvious that wasn't a great idea.
Yeah, then we had a band video call.
We did. We did.
No,
A band video
No.
call where we're actually all talking together. That was
No.
kind of nice to actually
not
see.
all. Not all.
Oh
almost.
yeah, that's right. Not all. God damn it. That's right. Not all.
Mhm.
Bands
Couldn't
gotta
even
love
do
them.
that. Couldn't even do that.
But anyways, let's talk about
Horror news!
I have something exciting for me. Well,
Okay.
I mean, it's exciting because
Oh, you
I don't know
already
if
you made a big thing about it, so it better be fucking awesome.
well, did you guys ever? I don't know if you've read this. It's like a giant fucking book called Wool by Hugh Howley.
No.
No, I don't think I have seen that, unfortunately.
So it's part of the Shift series. I think it started just as a short story, and then Wool, I feel like is book like 1 through 5 or 1 through 6. It's really cool. So years ago, I was trying to just find some good reading material and did a search of like the best sci-fi books of the year, and
Your
this
hair is getting
book
really
called-
long, Oubliette.
I know, and this is braided, not braided. It's like,
I just
stupid
noticed
long.
that.
but anyways, you guys can't see that, but it is very long. And in case you're wondering, I have dirty blonde roots. It goes into kind of a subtle purplish glow, and then into a aqua turquoise as it goes down. But the tips, because they've been washing out, are blonde. So
Just the tips.
I know you guys want to know about this.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm looking it up right now. So I read Wool. I looked up all these books. I bought a whole fuck ton of books. Some of them were bullshit. Some of them were great. Wool, honestly, start out. You can tell it's a bunch of books that they put into one, like short stories, and the first one got a lot of acclaim because the first maybe like 50 pages totally drag you in, and then afterwards it does get a little bit dense, like a lot of the sci-fi from like the 70s and 80s, the intellectual sci-fi where it gets too wordy, but he kind of quickly corrects that, and by the end it's just like a really great story, and Ridley Scott had the rights to it and was going to do an AMC series. I think he got the rights in like 2016, 2017 maybe, and it was supposed to come out in 2018, and then I just didn't hear anything about it. And then today in my news feed, since they know what you want to hear, Apple TV Plus picked it up, which Apple has been putting out some fucking killer shit. They had hired Rebecca Ferguson, which I don't know who the fuck that is and didn't look her up, but I'm sure she's great as the main character. But today I got excited. They signed on Tim Robbins, and I know what character he's going to play. And that makes me super psyched because when I was reading this book, like, I don't know if you guys are how I am when I read, but you kind of envision what the person may look like. I don't know. I have like an inner dialogue in my head as I'm reading, and who I thought that character would be looked so much like Tim Robbins. When I read the article, I was like, fuck yeah. And it made me feel better about the fact that I wasn't going to get to see Ridley Scott do it. But I think it's going to be cool. It's really neat. Basically, like humanity lives in a silo.
Okay.
Like a giant silo that goes down to the earth. And depending on what class of worker you are, you live on a different level. And there's like, I'm pretty sure hundreds of levels. There's at least like 150. But at the very top, there's like an eating area and a grouping area. And I feel like when I read it, everyone could go there, but they had certain times, or maybe only certain people could. But you basically see the stars, but if you look out, you can also see all the people who died to get people in the silos. There's just like bodies everywhere, so it's this very like ominous kind of thing.
Basically, that's where we're heading, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so where this story goes, some of it to me was a little slightly obvious, but other parts weren't. And then if you end up going farther in the series and reading the whole Silo series, the second set of books, that's one book, tells the story of kind of another grouping and what happens. It's cool. I don't know, it's cool. It's super nerdy. You know, as far as sci-fi and these big books have gone, there's been lots of levels recently, but the most prominently probably like Ready Player One. So this is like on the, I don't want to say opposite spectrum of that, but it is definitely a lot more like dense and serious, kind of on the Snowpiercer level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get you.
Or The Platform. I don't know if you watched that, but it's along those lines, which is kind of, I think it's going to be, I hope it's going to be good, because if they do it justice, I think it'll do really well.
Nice.
And this is on Apple.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing a lot of interesting stuff, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about their Foundation series, because that was like a sci-fi book that I became fascinated with when I was a kid. So, and it looks really amazing. I haven't read the story, but now I'm really interested. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, so it's Wool, which is book 1 through 5, Shift, which is book 6 through 8, and then Dust, which is like 9, I think, through 12. I haven't read Dust yet, but they were great. And like for me, I will read something, I don't want to say stupid, but I'll read like teenage adult shit like Harry Potter or like Hunger Games, a book a night. Really dense sci-fi, like it's got to be good for me to make it through. And I think Wool, even though it may have almost been 1,000 pages, I think I got through it in like a week and a half or 2 weeks. But I like paced myself and kind of read the same amount each time, and it was totally worth it. It's also one that it's not pretentious and over the top enough to where you can't put it down and pick it up later and miss anything. You could literally read it, put it down for a month, pick it up again, and
Know what the fuck's
and
going
not
on.
feel
Remember.
dumb. Totally. Yeah, it's
That's
very linear in that way and very user friendly. Like I would say it's a great like intro book for people not thinking they could read a book that long.
Can I tell you what a boring ass book is so far?
Sure.
Anyway?
Yeah.
Jaws. So I'm reading Jaws.
Really?
Hey, reading Jaws, you find it boring?
Yeah, because it's just a lot of like normal dialogue between people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like not a lot of
Yeah.
shit happening.
Yeah.
So
It's not a fast-paced book.
it's a lot. And I'm like, I mean, it's basically the same as a movie too, but when you're watching something, it's way easier to, you know, like, okay, there's more shit to focus on.
Well, yeah,
When
it
you're
moves
reading it-
faster. And they
Yeah.
trim the fat too, you know.
Yeah. But I was like, oh
Hmm.
man, I'm about halfway through it, but still, I'm like, man, some of these chapters are fucking slow.
That's how I felt about reading it, which
Oh.
most people would get pissed at me about. But there were some parts in that, especially just for how disturbing and crazy some parts were. There were other parts that was just like, what the fuck? Like, why is he even like,
Because he was all gacked out
Come
on
on.
coke and like, all right, I'm gonna write a
right?
10-page backstory on this fucking character that I mentioned once. Who fucking cares,
Right.
Stephen King? I don't.
Or like,
Move
or
along.
like, I don't want you to think I just want to fuck little boys. So I'm gonna write
Oh yeah.
a whole bunch of boring shit for a while and then like
Yeah.
completely traumatize you and
With a fucking
then scare the
junkyard
shit out of you and
circle
then write-
jerk.
Yeah, dude.
Mhm. And
Or
blowjobs.
the gang rape, any of it. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like, come on.
All the
Come
stuff.
on.
Good old
He's
Stephen
like,
King.
he's like, oh God. No, he's totally cooked out. Like, oh God, they're gonna think I'm weird. They're gonna think I'm
Right.
gay. Hold
Yeah,
on. I'm
right.
just gonna write about blood and faucet for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just a lot. It was
it
a
is
lot. But he's a master, you know?
What do you have, Dom?
Master of something.
Nothing crazy. I did find something interesting that I didn't think you guys would bring up, but so James Wan is doing Aquaman 2.
Oh God.
And Aquaman 1, as much as I like what's his name in that movie.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I like that actor, but I thought that he was terrible in
Oh,
that movie.
I like that actor too.
Yeah, but
We
you
know.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
I feel like the problem I had with that movie, and I'm a casual James Wan fan, but I felt like that movie he made
I
Aquaman.
hated that movie.
Yeah,
it was
it's
bad.
not great. He made one of my big problems with it was that Aquaman was as dumb as he needed to be in a scene or as smart as he needed to be in a scene. And then just the plot was just, it was everything. It was a lot. There was a lot of problems with it. But
that fucking movie, every single person I know was like, this is the best DC movie. And Courtney, you're or Oobliette, you're gonna love it.
you're both.
Everyone. No, I know
you.
I'm everything.
Both of
But
you.
everyone thought I was gonna love it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not gonna believe this because I don't want to get overly hyped, but I thought that I would at least enjoy it.
Mm-mm.
Not only did I not love it, I didn't enjoy it, and I got really bored. And honestly, right now, I couldn't tell you one fucking scene from that movie. Batman versus Superman, the first Justice or any Justice League, and that movie. If you ask me to tell you one scene, I cannot remember anything.
Well, that's a good thing that you said that because I can talk to you about one particular scene in that movie. In that movie, there was a scene where Aquaman and what's her name runs into they run into the creatures of the trench, the deep like creatures that are very similar to
this is ringing a bell. Yeah.
the fish monster people
From Hellboy.
that are very 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 H.P. Lovecraft influenced from
They're
Innsmouth.
Lovecraftian even.
They are.
Oh,
say
I
this
was
all the
thinking
time.
like Jar Jar Binks people.
That also works.
Yeah.
Needless to say, there's a scene in that movie where these monsters come and attack the boat that Aquaman and God, it's her name's right on the tip of my tongue, her character. But
Amber Heard, dumb fucking bitch.
Well, the character she played was who I was trying to think of.
Sarah.
But
isn't it Cera?
No.
No?
No.
I'm projecting.
But I'll find it. But they get attacked by these monsters from the deep. Mera. Her name is Mera, not Sarah. Mera. Very good though. Anyway, there's a scene where they attack the boat and they're monsters. James Wan tried to launch this into a spin-off horror movie called The Trench, but this didn't actually end up catching on, and Warner Brothers is not going for it.
That could be cool.
But yeah, I thought it would have been really cool, and so did he, and I think that would have been a really neat direction to go. However, because you want to take everything they learned on filming Aquaman and put it into this horror movie about these fish monster people from under the sea. So that's not happening. So Aquaman 2 is, and he has said that you can take the boy out of horror, but you can never take the horror out of the boy. So he's planning to have it heavily inspired by the classic horror movie Planet of the Vampires. His statement is that the first movie took a lot of people by surprise, right? Not really. It's partially because they were not familiar with the comic book, which deals in this very lurid, strange world. People were taken aback that I didn't throw all that stuff in way and make it really dark, heavy, but I feel like that wouldn't have been right. But with the second film, I feel it'll be easier for people to accept where we go because I've already laid the foundation. Released in 1965.
You know, as he's doing this interview, the production company and everyone else is like, shut him up. Send someone to shut him up.
I don't know how many people have watched Planet of the Vampires. I watched it when I was a kid. We should totally do an episode on it because it's a 1965 horror movie directed by the legendary Mario Bava. And it's cited as one of the strongest influences on Alien by Ridley Scott. But it's basically about a bunch of astronauts landing on a mysterious planet that start turning on each other, swayed by the influence of the planet itself and strange inhabitants. So it's really interesting that he's seriously planning. I thought Aquaman was kind of shit, but it was a hit. And like you said, a lot of people loved it at the time as the best.
It was a huge hit. People
just wanted to look at Jason Momoa.
But I think there was a lot of people who did that. But
I did too, but I still thought the movie was shit.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see.
I will watch it on mute all day.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how James Wan is going to put in the horror aspect on Aquaman 2 and have that be plottable. But they can't. I mean, I assume they can't do worse. But I mean, I like the idea that they're bringing these elements in because Planet of the Vampires is a pretty cool 60s movie. It's got a coolness to it, very retro. It's got some cool themes.
I mean, Jason
is
like a little too happy and light, but he's got Amber Heard on board, so I feel like it could definitely get dark pretty easy.
Aquaman is just a hard fucking pill to swallow. That character sucks. He's always sucked.
Oh no, totally. And then everyone was like, "Oh, why did they cast him? He's not blonde hair, blue eyed." And I'm like, at least they're trying to make it interesting.
Yeah,
like, give it that.
But that was really cool.
Aquaman in the comics was the most fucking.
He's a terrible character, but even them trying to make it interesting, they just did what they did with Thor and was like, "All right, we're gonna make you like the reluctant hero."
I think I think he did a much better
Mm-hmm.
job with Aquaman in
I like
League.
Thor.
And I do like Thor. But I mean, I think that he did a better job with the character in different films, but I'm hoping it's kind of like terrible to say, but it's like Aquaman 2 with monsters in it. All right, I'm going to see it, but I'm not like
Jason
wildly excited.
Momoa's natural just disposition of himself, because he's like a fucking berserker, you know what I mean, was way more suited. Obviously they couldn't do it because it's not DC, but Submariner, he even looks like Submariner. He has the eyebrows.
That's true.
You know what
I mean? I could definitely see
disposition.
Because somebody else is playing Submariner though.
Namor was way more of like a rebel You know what I mean? More of a badass where fucking Aquaman's
Yeah.
like, hi, I'm gonna
No,
ride some
Aquaman
dolphins.
is like the whitest of white, dumb superhero. Yeah,
His
he's the
dumb
Sea
shoes,
World
too.
of superheroes. Oh,
Did
dude,
you
he's the
know
worst.
that Namor, Submariner, is going to be the main villain of Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2.
Good.
And he's being
Who's in
played
it?
by,
Who is it?
they suspect that it's being played by Tenoch Huerta. He's a Mexican actor. He will be playing Namor.
Now, I never got into Black Panther when I was
Tenoch
into comic
Huerta?
books.
Oh,
Submariner.
I know who you're talking about. He
Was
was in The Purge Forever,
Yes.
or The Forever Purge. I just watched, and in Narcos.
Yes.
Dude, he's awesome. I'm actually
Yeah.
excited about that. He is a great actor.
Yes, he is, and he has a good look. I think he could be a good Namor. I'm really interested in seeing him in this part.
I
But
really
what-
like
what-
him as a hero, though. But okay.
Yeah, was there
Well,
a
Namor's a
time-
hero. He's kind of like he. This is
Yeah.
perfect because Namor starting Namor out as a villain, then having him become a hero. You have a lot of wiggle room there.
But he wasn't ever like a villain to Black Panther or anything like that, was it?
No, but they don't have the Fantastic Four going right now, so yeah,
Right.
they're gonna put him somewhere else. I'm interested
right.
in seeing how
They
they do
got-
the Black Panther. But anyway, that's my horror news. Is Aquaman 2 is supposedly going to be a lot more horror based, but we'll see. We'll see.
I have
We
one little
will
one,
see.
too.
Yeah. All right. I have something.
Is
So,
it Night Books? If it's
No.
Night Books, I'm going to punch you.
Night Flight.
No, Night Books. Go
No,
on.
but Shudder is killing it again with a new docuseries called Behind the Monsters.
Oh
Which is gonna
Oh,
focus,
yes.
right?
I knew you were going to be super psyched on
Oh
that.
man, that's so rad, right? So I guess it'll what?
It gives Eve more reasons to not leave his house.
Oh yeah, I don't fucking want to leave my house ever. But I guess each series, 6 episodes, is going to focus on a single horror character, which is pretty rad. And so the episode breakdown is Candyman, Chucky, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and Pinhead, and will premiere October 26th. So that's
Ooh,
pretty fucking cool. Shout
that
out
covers
to
it.
Bloody Disgusting
that is pretty cool.
for that news. Yeah. Dude, Shudder's so fucking like, man.
No, I have to say that was a great purchase. I was like on the fence, like, oh, I can watch most of these on streaming, but no, they are doing great.
And they did it right because they
Yeah.
started it out super. I mean, it's still fucking like ridiculously cheap, like
so
stupid cheap.
Mhm.
So even if they're like, gotta raise
Yeah,
it
I
a buck,
just no,
you're
I
like,
bought
oh no,
it.
$6 a month, or you
No,
know,
I just bought
fucking-
the year when I saw
Yeah,
them. I'm like,
yeah, I do the annual too, but
I was like, I'll just do a year and not have buyer's remorse in case it
Yeah.
sucks because whatever. But it was worth it.
it is. So I'll be looking forward to that.
All right, so I got one more horror news.
Yeah, bring
Okay.
it.
You guys know who Kristen Ritter is?
Yes.
She was Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, which I never wanted to watch that. And then I watched it, and it was such a good show if you haven't seen it. But she was also Jessica Jones.
Mm.
Yep.
Mhm.
She's from Pittsburgh.
Oh, Yinzer.
She is 100% Pittsburgh. You can tell
Mhm.
with her pale facade and black hair and attitude.
Yeah. I mean, there's those Yinzers, and then there's also like, it's the middle of fucking December, and I'm orange, and I gotta get my nails done, and I gotta go tanning
That's
all
true.
the time.
But I feel like she almost is kind of like borderline that, but not embracing it. I mean, she is a huge
It's all there, and
she's
they
pretty she's
they
pretty
dabble at some
Yinzerish.
point.
Right. And if you
If she
listen
isn't
to her
now,
in
she was.
interviews, she definitely is a Yinza.
Yeah.
But anyways, she Netflix is doing a show called Night Books, and they just released the trailer, and she's the witch in it, and it looks fucking awesome. It's definitely like young adult level, raw dollish. But but if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. She's got like blue hair. She almost reminds me of what's the fighter's name in the Marvel fighting game? Your ex dressed up like her.
Morgan. What?
Yes.
Like Morgan, the Darkstalkers. It's not a Marvel game, but yeah, Darkstalkers.
Or sorry. Yeah, but in one of the fighting games, there's a crossover and she fights some of them. Anyways, long story. But yes. She totally has that sort of hair, that kind of outfit.
Looks great.
The trailer looks awesome. It's like about kids who have to kind of feed demons with scary stories or something. It almost looks like a Goosebumps sort of thing, but a little more extreme. But I don't know. It looks like a lot of fun.
I'll check out that
because everything she's done, I've really liked her in. And when I see her in this, she totally reminds me of like Anne Hathaway when she's done darker stuff. And then the woman who did Mrs. Pettigrew's definitely has that kind of feel.
Eva Green.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
She even looks like her in the pictures. So I think this could be a good role for her. And I'm excited because I love young adult horror and I don't care.
Your jam.
Well, I guess that's it for horror news, right?
Not yet.
Oh, still going.
Since we didn't do one last time, we're gonna break into Chappin E's ass. What chaps my ass? And oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about this because this has been bugging the fuck out of me, which we discussed in our little group. Projection on the movies, meaning that they don't have and never did. And these horror editors.
Oh, the meaning. Okay, so there's projecting meaning onto horror films that they didn't originally have, and then people after the fact applying them. Okay, just explain for those at home.
Yes.
Are you talking about the woke culture right now?
Yeah. I mean, that could be one of them, but I won't name the publications because you know, whatever. But it was about Near Dark. And we all love Near Dark, I would assume, or at least like it. Mm-hmm. I own it. Been watching it forever. And when I tell you that this article was a fucking novel, not 1 or 2 paragraphs, like 7, maybe 9 paragraphs of just all this shit. It mentioned loosely what Catherine Bigelow said about, you know, what her premise was, but then just went on this fucking tirade of like, oh, it's about the, you know, the fucking ruling elites and the poor people and fucking Reagan and all this shit. And I'm just like, wow, man.
For everybody who's not sure, real quick, Near Dark is 1987 horror vampire movie.
Yes.
It was overshadowed by The Lost Boys coming out, but it is a really legit movie starring the legendary Bill Paxton.
Right.
Please continue. I'm just trying to fill in the crowd.
And you know what's funny is it actually had a lot of the actors from Alien because they met, and I think the person who screen wrote Near Dark or someone involved with it was in Alien and kind of like got
she was
them all
married.
on
Wasn't she
board.
married to? Wasn't Catherine Bigelow married to fucking? Oh, what's his nuts?
The
Producer
James Cameron from 89 to 91.
Yeah.
Yes, they were married. 3 years.
Yeah. So basically they started talking about it on the set of Alien and then they got brought over. I mean, it's got a solid cast. It's a great movie. And most people don't know about it. And it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very under the radar and it shouldn't be.
Right.
Just filling everybody in.
And I've mentioned it to you guys.
And it's on streaming right now for free. It's on
Shudder.
Or not free, but it's on Shudder.
But I mean, goddamn, like I was like, did I miss all of this shit growing up watching this? Like I own it and I watch it fairly often. And they're just going on and on and on about the poor and the elites and this and that. And I'm just like, fuck. So good. Go to
I think it's in the eye of the beholder.
But it's not.
I mean, but look, it is. It is in a way. Let's take it down to like the most basic fundamentals ever. Let's take it down to like Disney's Robin Hood. Okay? Think of all the, well, just listen. Think of all the kids who watched that and adults who watched that and what they took from that. Like, there is probably a large amount of the population that watched that movie is like a super fun, awesome movie about like doing cool shit. And that's all they looked into it as. There's another part of the population as kids that were like, fuck yeah, taxation is theft, like me.
Well, I mean,
and never changed that belief.
That's right, though. Taxation is
but
theft. Anyway.
It is. No, it is theft. And then there's another group that was like, damn, King John's rings that they kissed off his hands were fucking blinging. And I would love to hang out in the caravan with a fucking snake. You know, I'm just saying there's different things, and some people don't.
You can interpret things.
No, and that's obviously like a basic thing. But yes, people look into everything. But maybe the director wanted to do that. Do you know? I don't know.
She didn't.
Oh, good. Okay, so there you go.
That's my problem. It's like you can interpret shit. Art is art. You know, whatever. You can interpret shit however the fuck you want to. But when people start writing stuff, it's like they gaslight and tell these lies. Like they've done it with Night of the Living Dead and King Kong.
Oh,
and I'm like,
of course.
Like, no, it's not about that. But they fucking just repeat it and becomes this thing where like they're like, oh yeah, it's totally about that. I'm like, no, it's not.
So we have a fucking song that was written way before a certain member was in the band. And we had people reach out to us saying that we were fucked up for playing it because it was about someone who's not currently in our band's brother dying, and they related to it, and it's obviously about this and that. And this song is not about anything like that at all. It's like people take what they want and they run with it. Like every day someone's just like, oh, like this song changed my life. It got me through a breakup. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This song's really about quitting a job. Like,
yeah, I've been yelled at about the meanings of our songs. Had people yell at me about how strongly they feel, and I'm like, dude, I was in the room. But I mean, okay, whatever, fine.
Like, and that's fine. People can have their opinions on it, but it's like,
no, people will have underlying political meanings. Our last album, we have the song Naysayers that Kate literally wrote about our guitarist at the time dying. And it's about him living his life the way he should. And this fucking dude on YouTube did a breakdown of our album, talked about how talented we are, but then said, yeah, but it just sucks when girls are in the band because they make it all about how, you know, girls have this plight and everything else. And there's a song called Naysayers about how women aren't treated right and I'm supposed to treat them better. And it just really turned me off. And I'm like, it's literally about a drunk fucking dude who has an illegitimate child he barely takes care of, has treated every woman in his life like shit. And it is a homage to the fact that he lived the way he wanted and we were cool with it. But yet you're saying that we're like lactating and bleeding and crying and had to write this song because we were so sad that men treated us bad. Like,
I mean, both can be true.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Which I get, and people, like I said, people got there, but it's different when you're like a major publication and you're saying, well, obviously it was about this, that, and blah, 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 and like just a whole novel. Because the one thing about horror
what's the
fans,
fucking news anymore or a major publication anymore? Nobody vets anything.
Exactly. And that's my,
it doesn't fucking matter. Like, news is not about news. News is about getting people agitated, happy, elated, whatever. News is about emotions. So why would you just,
because I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So why would you write about this movie as a factual thing? Because everyone would just be like, yeah, I agree. Like, what does that invoke for you? Nothing. Well, they want people to feel crazy shit because that's our life now.
Feel crazy shit that's not there. So I go back, I'm like, all right, if I missed all this shit, like I'm gonna go back and I want to find the earliest interview with Catherine Bigelow that I could find, which was literally like a few months, maybe weeks after the movie premiered. And, it was like her media.
I love that
tour
you were
for it.
so mad you started researching this. Go on.
Dude, I was like, because I was
Dude,
like,
that's how I am.
I was like, how
what
the fuck did I miss all of this? Because
Slamming the keys like, look up this.
well, the thing is like in the very first little bit, they're like, oh, her vampire Western and blah, blah, blah. And then just went on
I
this
remember
tirade.
it being a vampire Western.
Dude, that's exactly what so I'm like, and I know what Catherine Bigelow looks like now, but I don't remember her from the fucking late 80s. So I'm like, oh man, if that's what she was doing, then she's probably some like super like artsy like whatever beatnik,
Like the snaps. Go on.
right? So I find like the earliest interview and she's
Woman.
like, right, wearing a fucking leather jacket, her fucking, she looks like just like, she looks a little bit artsy, but like I'm a rocker type artsy, like someone you'd see on the fucking strip, like leather jacket, like I have a motorcycle and shit, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch this video interview. And she goes on and basically says that she just wanted to retell the vampire trope, the vampire story as a Western. And that was the whole fucking thing. And then, they're having a little bit of back and forth. And at one point, which was a little bit, I think she was a little bit tongue in cheek, but the point still stood there. She was like, if anything, it's an argument for the nuclear family because it's about the whole fucking family, and once that starts to break down, where the girl fucking brings Caleb in and kind of starts fucking everything up. Like before that, they were a fucking tight family, mom, dad, brother, sister. And then once that shit started breaking down, like everything went to shit. And she was like, that's the story. Like nothing about anything else, elites, poor people, like whatever. I was like, okay, I'm not fucking retarded. Like I didn't imagine any of that.
You're not supposed to say that word anymore.
No, whatever.
Eat
my nuts.
I mean, the fact, come on, we're all artists. We put out art, and unfortunately, we have to deal with the fact is that it's not always our art is best when it's allowed to be interpreted and become important to other people. As far as pop art, which is essentially when you do music or movies, you're doing pop art.
Well, of course, and that's why you make things open ended. And you're vague and you're not literal. When you write a fucking song, you're not like, my dog died on August 28th, 2011 in Iowa, and a semi with the license plate 2W5689 ran him over.
I really wish you hadn't spoiled one of our new songs on
the trucker's name was John Felipe. Like
I'm
whatever,
literal
you can't just
with writing songs. I use a lot of innuendos, but
I mean the best things you can do is make sure that songs are applicable. Like I'd say songs, but movies too. Like that they are open ended. I'm sure Bigelow is just like you can see whatever you want into it. Like I mean, truthfully, as long as they're talking about the movie, that's all that's best. So it's like I totally get why it bothers you because you see all this. I love that you got pissed and you're like, I'm gonna fucking Google this.
Well, because it's so it's so perfect. Divisive. It's like such a one-sided like, and it's fun. Like I said, people can have like, oh, I got this or that from the movie.
In the case of but in the case of Near Dark, I would say I'm just glad people are talking about it because that movie did not get as much traction as it should, and it is a cult favorite in retrospect. So
it was for the new whatever 4K release thing that they were doing. But man. Like when we so need to do King Kong because God, I have so much to say about that people have just gotten wrong, and it's fucking weird.
Didn't we do it?
No, we need to.
Oh, just King Kong.
Yeah, King Kong, the original.
Yeah. I'm down with that.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
That's so good. But yeah, that was the one thing that chaps my head because they do it with so many movies, and it's not like they're like, oh well, I think it was blah blah blah. It's like, well, obviously, this is what it was. This is what they meant. And it's like,
the tone was just like.
If you want to go down a wormhole, look at what people have said about the lair of the white worm.
Oh, yeah. I looked at that and went, okay.
Which I still don't know what the fuck I don't know what. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I
I
don't.
remember renting
I
that movie and
fucking-
going, "What am I watching here?"
That is one of
Yeah.
the covers, like I remember from the videotape.
Yes,
Same.
Yeah,
Go
that's why I
going to the
rented it.
fucking renting the store. Like
Same.
I always remember, what that fucking movie
And Hugh
was.
Grant, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's Hugh Grant. Trust me. So
That-
my
wait,
parents,
wasn't
my
it? She was
parents-
coming out of the snake thing in the leather, kind of the vinyl like outfit.
Yeah, I guess my mom read a book and then my mom and dad rented it. And I just remember them being like, what the fuck? And then hearing them get in a fight. And so then when I went to the video store like a couple weeks later, I was like, I'll rent it because I had the signature for R-rated movies. And Chloe and I watched it and we were just like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, last 20 minutes.
We looked at each other and we were like, well, wait a minute. We understand movies like Dune and Brazil. And like somehow this had kind of some weird elements of that at the end. But like, we don't know what the fuck happened. And I literally remember going on AOL and like searching message boards to see if there was like a message board talking about it, and there was, and it was like obviously like perverted overweight men by the way they responded to me, and I was trying to like look into it, but so kids, if you're listening to this is how the internet used to be. And then I went to the library,
Dude,
but
the internet
Microfiche
was
didn't have
fucking
anything on Lair
wild.
of the White Worm. Dude,
The internet was, dude, AOL chat rooms were fucking nuts.
Yeah, it was
I
crazy.
know. Yeah, you had to wait a whole like 10 minutes to get a response. And you
Oh my
didn't even
God.
have anxiety over it because you were just like, oh, it's going to take at least 10 minutes. No big deal. I'm going to fold some laundry
Yeah,
or
it's
do
totally
whatever.
true.
Dude,
Like, I remember making the first Tsunami Bomb flyers and I would like download like comic book, like women's drawings to put as the background. It would take 3 hours. That's not a big deal.
This is how long it took.
Because I was like, no, this looks awesome. I want to download it.
kids
I'd be
don't
like,
even
I'll just
know.
come back later today.
They don't even know how the internet was. It was the wild, wild west.
The Lair
Dude,
of the White Worm.
I had a BBS that my neighbors went to.
That's
you know,
another
yeah.
thing we should do. We should totally do the Lair of the White Worm because that would be hilarious.
No,
People need
you
to know
what
about this film.
That's fine, but I really want to do Serpent and the Rainbow.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
another one.
That's actually
Yeah.
pretty good.
That's a good one.
No, that's a great one that people don't know about now. And when I talk about it, and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Watch
Really,
it."
that should be.
It's good.
I always thought that
Was
one
that wait?
a
Was that
classic.
Bill Pullman?
Yeah, Bill Pullman.
Yeah,
I always thought that one
Romancing
was
the
a classic.
Stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. But remember, a classic to us is not a classic today.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a classic,
Yeah, we should probably talk about the movie.
we should probably talk about the movie that we're supposed to talk about.
All right. Well, that's what chaps my ass.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now
Chaps
it's time to
my
talk
ass,
about
too.
James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Not a horror movie. But
But some
it's
monster
a monster
candy.
movie. It's
Yeah.
a total monster movie. Yeah, it is a monster.
Yeah,
But
there
I-
were some fucking monsters.
There was
So
Starman was in it.
Starro, yeah. Starro,
Mhm.
which is quite, I mean, that was a pretty cool villain to pull out. You know, I was into that.
I haven't done any research on this, but
Okay.
the color pattern and it being star and the starfish sticking on the people's faces, that could not have been a coincidence from the fucking the Nintendo Pro Wrestling video game. Starman
Oh yeah, no way.
is exactly the same. I was like, holy fuck.
Well, Starro goes a lot further back than that. He was God. When was he originally?
1960.
Yeah, he was in
Oh,
1960. So that's
It
where
was
he
always
came
the
from.
same color.
Kinda, yeah, pretty much.
Was it?
Brave and the Bold, 1960.
Yeah. That's Starro Starro is technically a very overpowered villain for the Suicide Squad to face, but I love that they did that because I mean, I think this movie, what works best So as many people remember, and in fact, a lot of people cite this as probably why this movie didn't do as well, is because Suicide Squad was a movie that was made. We had a movie back in 2016 that was
a pile of shit.
It was pretty rough, yeah. Yeah, it had moments, but it was, I think, it perfectly is summed up by your statement of American Horror Story, where it's 15 pounds of sand in a 10-pound bag. Like they like directed, yeah, they
pounds of shit in a
I-
5-pound bag.
David Ayer
I
made
don't-
this so
I
complex.
don't even think it had that much shit in it. It was literally just like,
I mean, Enchantress,
Joker.
Joker.
No, literally, I understand, but they were like, "Oh, we'll put Will Smith and Jared Leto in a movie, and it's gonna sell a bunch of fucking, it's gonna make money." And there was no fucking content, and they did every character
It was just
a disservice and made them so much suckier than they actually are, despite all their flaws. These characters are great because of their flaws, and that one made, like, it was weird. They actually took away some of their flaws in that.
It was
like,
really
if I could
strange.
say the biggest fucking shit they did with that ruined it, not only did they try to candy coat it, they tried to take away the rough and gruff of all these fucking criminals.
It was weird because here's the thing. Suicide Squad, the comic book, if people don't realize this, and hopefully you might, but probably not, is really based off a concept of a movie called The Dirty Dozen. It's a fantastic classic. It's basically stars all the badass actors of the time, but it's about military prisoners of war during World War II getting coerced on a mission that is probably suicidal. They're probably going to die on, but if they accomplish the mission, they will get time off their sentence or set free by the military. It's like, do this and we'll let you walk. Don't, fuck off. And it's a great movie, and it's a fucking awesome premise and a great template. And the comics totally took that idea. That's where the comic came from, and made a comic of the supervillain version of it. And it's kind of been running off and on throughout the years since. And so when this movie came out, I was like, dude, all they need to do is take that plot and basically transfer it over to this movie with superpowers. That's it. And I was like, wow, they didn't even, they like purposefully, David Ayer purposely avoided any connection to Dirty Dozen whatsoever, aside from the original concept. And it's like, this would have been a perfect way to remake Dirty Dozen for a new audience that are not looking for old 1960s World War II movies. Actually, I should look up when Dirty Dozen actually came out. But I mean,
the original Suicide Squad, I felt like they tried to go the Hellboy route and just like, or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen route, and just like fell super, super flat.
Let me just straight up just promote a movie for a second. If you guys want to see an amazing fucking film and you haven't seen this, Dirty Dozen, 1967. It has Lee Marvin, Ernest Borgnine, Charles Bronson, Jim Brown, John Cassavetes, George Kennedy, Robert Ryan, Telly Savalas, Robert Weber, and Donald Sutherland. This movie kicks so much ass. It was so good. Robert Aldrich directed it. I can't recommend it enough. It's the superior version of both these films.
I was obsessed with Telly Savalas when I was like 4.
Yeah, it's based on the 1965 bestseller by E.M. Nathanson. Was inspired by a real-life World War II
Donald Sutherland and
Lines demolition specialist from the 101st Airborne Division called the Filthy 13, which is even more amazing that it was based off a real story. But 2016 Suicide Squad
Filthy
was
13, Dirty Dozen.
Yep, there you go. But I mean,
Filthy 13 would make a great tattoo.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So anyway, 2016, the movie didn't do well. So here we fast forward, get to 2021, and with James Gunn, fresh off of getting kicked off of out of Disney and Marvel for jokes that he had made on Twitter.
For not being woke.
Yeah, not being woke enough. He was
15 years before.
He was woke. He was really
before anyone was
political advocate. And then people brought up a bunch of his more offensive tweets that he hadn't deleted from when he was pushing more of a comedic, trying to be an edgy comedian, and he got bounced out of Marvel. Warner Brothers went, "We'll take you," and immediately made a deal for this movie. And here we are. This movie's a lot more fun, but it was a little unclear. It's like whether, like at first they were being very mercurial about it being a sequel, a remake. It's pretty obvious a sequel, but it's kind of a remake too. So kind of like
I'm just glad.
It's like it carried over three actors from it, but one of them was not there long. Boomerang, Captain Boomerang, was in the original movie. So
I thought it was a different actor.
No, same actor, and then of course the same
he
actor.
Looked better in the new one.
Yeah, it was the same actor playing what's his name? Viola Davis is Amanda Walker. She came back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 4. Jai Courtney was back as George Digger Harkness, Captain Boomerang. He didn't last long.
I'm just glad Pete Davidson got off pretty quick.
Same.
Rick Flag, Joel Kinnaman, Colonel Rick Flag came back. So there was quite a few characters that came back.
I didn't think Flag was the same person either.
No, he was. Yeah.
Damn. I will say this. James Gunn made Boomerang.
What was that? Sorry, you cut out. You cut out. There you are.
James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Made Flag and Boomerang look way better.
Yeah.
I see that.
Sploosh,
mm-hmm.
as Pam would say.
Yep.
Why? I didn't see why Will Smith didn't redo Deadshot. I mean, it was obvious
because he was fucking awful, and that was the worst part of the first Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean,
Will Smith should not be in any fucking movie other than Men in Black or a Fresh Prince remake. Like
he's
that's
the Fresh Prince in basically every movie. I mean,
right.
I Am Legend. I liked him in that.
No. Oh my god.
But
self-deprecating bullshit.
Yeah, he is definitely the Fresh Prince in every movie. Which
apparently there were some scheduling conflicts that happened.
Good.
Yeah.
I would not have watched the new one if Will fucking Smith would have been in it.
It's funny because they said
I'm an open-minded person with movies, but Jesus Christ. He was so bad in the first one.
Yeah,
we'll say you're a minded person with movies. I wouldn't say open-minded.
They just said scheduling
I'm
conflicts.
saying I'm open-minded if I will watch them.
I think it was money more than
I'll watch
anything.
pretty much anything. But if Will Smith would have been in this, fuck no. I'm out. He ruined the first one.
I mean, I like Deadshot, but I think that Deadshot, I mean, he's definitely a better actor, but it is so clear that it's like Deadshot's almost the same character. You know, I mean, like the way in this movie, as far as this movie's concerned.
It is, but better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the biggest DC fan at all.
I hate DC.
Yeah.
Like none of these characters I cared about whatsoever.
I like the Batman universe, but other than that, DC can go to hell.
Yeah, but I will say, for at least for me, the person that stole the show, which my problems aside with this guy now, was John Cena.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he ad-libbed almost all of it.
Right. And I won't even get into what my issues are with him. But for this movie, I was like, man. And you know what?
I told you. I fucking told you.
Much like what's his name from The Boys?
Yeah.
What's that character's name?
Which one? All of them ad lib on that.
No.
They do great. You're talking about the Aquaman guy.
No.
Or you're talking about
the
main guy.
The main guy.
Homelander.
Homelander, yes.
Yeah, Homelander. I love The Boys. It's a great comic series too, by the way.
Which is also the greatest character in that because he's the most realistic and
Homelander?
He's right. Yes.
I guess he's the most realistic if you're like a weirdo orphan who likes masturbating to himself and fucking Nazis and like blowing children up.
Yeah.
Sure.
But he's his
We just
his
got
my take.
we got like a great opening to E's mind right now that he thinks Homelander is the most relatable in the boys. I would actually, you know what's funny?
Because
actually, you know what? I would actually relate more to the fucking aquatic douchebag who's super pretty that pretty much
tell you why.
raped
I'm
someone.
going to tell you why.
Than
Because
Homelander.
he does the shit that no one wants to do but needs to be done. Much like Peacemaker, he's like,
is that
look,
what you get? Is
yeah,
that what you get? 100%.
100%.
He drinks breast milk, and is
we've all drank breast milk. Everyone has
from
a
Elizabeth Shue.
Don't kink shame. You know what I mean?
I just don't know if that's
Peacemaker says Peacemaker, anything for peace by any means necessary. Which
I know, but no, of course, Peacemaker and Homelander, sure, but you just said Homelander is the most relatable person in the boys. So we're going back to that. We're not talking about Peacemaker anymore. I'm talking about how you just said Homelander
because their whole outlook on society, where they're like, look, this is fucked up, but you people aren't going to do it, so I'm going to, and I'll take all the heat for it and lie and be like, oh no, everything's great.
I don't think that's the character. I don't know.
100%.
No.
100%.
100%. I'm saying stop talking about Peacemaker. You just literally said Homelander.
No, that's relatable. Homelander. Homelander is the
that's what he's saying. He's talking about Homelander does what everyone else can't handle.
I know.
And he does it.
Right.
And he takes the heat. He's like, you know what? You people are too pussy to do anything about it and to handle all this shit.
Homelander,
so I'm going to go do it.
Homelander and Peacemaker are similar. I give you that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm going back to the fact that you said in The Boys, the only relatable character for you is Homelander.
No, I said most relatable.
I feel like that Homelander, didn't he have literally a breakdown when the crowd turns against him?
Yeah, he's literally the biggest titty baby ever. He can't even emotionally handle doing anything, and he murders a bunch of people.
Yeah,
cries. Yeah, drinks breast milk. Is a titty baby.
That's the price that he has to pay to keep the peace, man.
I am fascinated.
But he actually doesn't keep the peace.
No. Well, he would if everyone would just get on board with the shit he's doing. It'll be fun.
His badass girlfriend that isn't really his girlfriend because she's a lesbian does more than he does.
Yeah, she's a little too sympathetic.
Listen, so right now, we're not going to get into this anymore. But I would like you to rewatch The Boys.
Oh, I have.
The comment. Okay, maybe a couple more times and think about all. And think about all your.
I am Team Homelander.
Yeah, and think about
through and through.
Dude, I mean, I would screw him totally, but
then he's a little weird looking.
Probably make him cry after. No. The actor I'm down with. But listen,
the actor is amazing.
But
good actor. I'm just talking about physical looks. He also looks like the dude who plays Captain Kirk in like the new movies.
Yeah.
Where they look like they're wearing like prosthetics on their face. Like their face doesn't look real to me. Well,
he has a broken jaw. He had a broken jaw that never got fixed. That's why it looks like he's chewing.
Yeah, but not that. Just I don't know. There's something about their faces that
super like attractive real. And weird. Super weird. But anyways,
Team Homelander, go.
I'm actually talking about
Team Homelander drinking titty milk and
I need you to hone in on all that and just kind of you've been spending a lot of time alone and I just need you to
no way, man.
Think about if that's who you want to relate to because I actually don't understand that. I mean, I understand wanting to like take care of business or take care of butts and do whatever and be in charge. But like, I mean, he literally was like kidnapped his son and like raped somebody to get his son. And you're saying that's relatable. Like, I don't even know if I want to do this podcast with you anymore right now. I feel like you're like,
well, you're going to
people to create superhero babies. Oh my God, am I pregnant right now? What is going on? This is so confusing.
This is definitely taking a turn. I did not get that out of The Boys. I have to say, I don't feel like Homelander or Peacemaker is my homie. Though I do think both actors are fantastic in those characters, and they definitely make the shows that they're in.
Here's the other thing about
the big bonuses of
It's
this
like
movie.
he wants to bang John Cena now, and that's super weird.
Here's the weird thing about the whole Peacemaker thing. So like they make this big deal about him trying to fucking, not let the hard drive get out because it would fuck everything up and just cause so much chaos in the world that he couldn't have that, right?
Right.
So they're like, oh my God, you're selfish. We get it. America's bad. Oh, you're gonna fucking kill this one person to save the world. Whatever. You're fucking terrible. When Bloodshot does the exact same thing in the end, but for a selfish reason. It's like more personal and selfish. Oh, because we won't let this get out unless if you give us this thing.
It's like super. Your sympathy is like real weird.
It's exactly the same thing though, except Bloodshot's.
Well, I think
But how he did they did it for personal. He said, we won't release this if you give us this thing. Where Peacemaker was like, look, we need to keep this peace, and if this gets out, it's going to destroy the world, and we can't have that. It'd be bad for everybody.
Well, I think,
but you're also talking about a peacemaker that literally said, "I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I kill to get it."
You gotta break some eggs and make an omelet, Oobliette.
Right. So you understand the contradiction in that, right? I mean,
No.
yeah. Actually, I think you should run for like a political. I think you should go into politics.
I think
right now you're
point-
sounding like you're like right, not like you'd be a great politician. I mean, I'm not buying what you're saying, but I feel like 99.2% of people might. So
I'm telling you.
I feel like you could be
of a particular point of view.
Yeah,
I will say that I think what's being said here in the movie, at least, is that the person who wanted to bust this wide open for the reasons for the good, despite the guy who's taking the high road, he died trying to do that. And then the guy, what was that? Rick Flag. So he dies trying to, spoiler alert, he dies trying to bring this out. But then, we have Peacemaker who's trying to hide it for his own his reasons to that he feels like this would damage America. I think the movie's trying to give you a point that
not damage America. He was given
world.
a mission, and he's gonna
right. And Bloodsport got it and went, I'm gonna use this to blackmail my way out of this fucking prison. And that was, and in a way, that's the most Suicide Squad. Like they were saying that, like, I felt like the movie was trying to tell you, like, nobody, it's like the good guys don't win here. The bad guys, it's really the guys looking out for themselves that walk away. The ones that are most self-serving are the ones
that prevail.
Yeah.
Right. And look, everything aside, he did, like James Gunn did what he should have. He Deadpooled this.
Yeah.
He Guardians of the Galaxy this.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
like,
oh my God, that's exactly what I thought. 100%.
Like this movie is if you combine Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy with like everything for me that I needed right now. Like I am tired of reading descriptions that are like action comedy / dramedy or whatever else. And I see these descriptions, I watch, or just descriptions that are like action comedy, and then I watch them and I'm like, what the fuck? This is the most depressing shit ever. Like, this movie was stupid. This movie was stupid as fuck. And it was expensive as shit to make. And they killed off like so many of the best actors in the first 5 minutes. And that's the kind of shit in this climate I want to see. I've been dealing with 2 years of like the worst feeling ever being in this fucking service industry and like shit going down, the pandemic coming back. Like I don't need to watch some dramatic bullshit. I don't need amazing actors. Like I want to see bright colors. I want to see blood flying everywhere. I want to see silly shit. I want to hear about butthole references and like just fun, but smart, fun, dumb shit. And this to me checked those boxes. Like I was so happy the first 15 minutes when I was like, oh, This is going to be like over the top potty humor, ridiculous shit. And I loved it. And I was happy to see it.
I'm definitely glad. I mean, me being like at least with the comic books I like I'm a purist and I don't like when things change so much, like all these different universes. I like the original concepts. So I'm kind of glad that I don't care about any of these characters because I probably would have enjoyed it less.
Yeah.
But it was definitely an enjoyable movie. All that aside, you know what I mean? Because if I went into it like really being into whatever, I'd have been like, because it was very Deadpool. And even with like Deadpool as a character, I never really got into. Like, you know, he'd pop up in X-Force and stuff like that. And I'd be like, oh yeah, cool, he's an assassin, cool. But Deadpool originally was just like a cold-blooded assassin. That was it. He wasn't this wise, you know, wisecracking fucking Ryan Reynolds. But those movies are still enjoyable because they're done well. You know what I mean? And I think this movie was done well for sure. And it was entertaining.
The fact they made Sylvester Stallone literally just grumble is hilarious to me.
I mean, him and Vin Diesel got that market cornered, I guess, right?
You know,
but the fact they paid him to be the shark, like that's
Gunn
great.
told Sylvester Stallone that he wrote the role for him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, what is it?" And he's like, "It's a chubby, like kind of big, human eating shark." He's like, "Dude, anything for you. I'm done. I'm doing it." But like, you know, just to your point, James Gunn filled this. He could ask for anyone and get them any that he wanted. They told him whatever characters you want, you get. And he purposely chose like more obscure, unknown villains because he wanted to stick with the original vision of second-rate antagonists. Because the innate tragedy of this is that it's like villains who aren't even really good at being bad. Like, and I think that that's appropriate. I felt like James Gunn got it. He got it. And I think that this is the best version of the film, though it's considered. A lot of people are trying to.
I mean, Polka Dot Man.
I know, right? Exactly. But I mean, it technically flopped for everybody's thing. I mean, I don't know if it's a total flop, but it's like
it underperformed by 68%.
Yeah, but I mean,
it
was a weird
the last thing I read.
Time. A lot of people are trying to figure out why it flopped. You know, and I think that people are citing that it's unclear whether it's a sequel or remake. There isn't like a huge star back, you know, pushing the movie forward. Some people think it was because that was right when the Delta variant was coming out. So I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think caused the movie not to do well? Because it is a good movie, and it did seem like people were interested. I don't know.
I think they did a really. I think it was smart to keep Margot as Harley Quinn, but at the same time, I think branding wise, maybe the people who had grown to love her wouldn't necessarily flock to this movie.
I think it was the best part about the first Suicide Squad was one of the best parts was her portrayal, even though it wasn't perfect. I think she was a good actress for it. And then when they had a chance to do a movie around her, that movie was not quite there.
Well, I mean, so Harley Quinn to me is funny. Like, honestly, like my adult life, like Halloween, I haven't dressed as anyone other than Ellie Driver from Kill Bill back when that came out, however the fuck long ago that was. But I did dress as Harley Quinn 2 years in a row from Arkham Asylum because I fucking love that character and love that video game.
That's a great video game.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was funny because like the first year, no one knew who the fuck I was dressed as. They're like, "You're a clown doctor," and I'm like, whatever. But the second year, people saw it, and I'm like, this character, if you know the DC people are smart, they need to really kind of. She'll blow up.
Yeah.
Especially now in the cosplay world and everything else, like women attached to that stuff. And it was funny because then when it caught on, I was obvious that like I was super annoyed by it. Like, yeah, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
First Suicide Squad came out, like it was shit. I felt like they ruined that.
Yeah, it's good. Again, I don't care about these characters because the Harley Quinn I like is the Joker's, you know, sidekick, fucking chick, jester. You know what I mean? Just fucking psychotic or whatever. This one is I mean, it is what it is at this point. But
see, so that's where we are totally different. I mean, I liked that in all the video games and comics and even the animated series, but the movies, the first two, like I thought it was total bullshit, and they made her like weak as fuck. Whereas I feel like in the original cartoons and comic books, yeah, she was a smart doctor who kind of wound up with a bad person or whatever,
right.
but I felt like she went crazy, but I never felt like she had completely lost control. In those first two movies, they just made her seem shitty. My favorite portrayal of her is in the current animated series with like Kelly Kuko and
I have not watched any of those.
oh shit, they're funny as shit. Mark
Check 'em
Hamill
out.
is the Joker.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was. Wait, you mean? Well, he's always been the Joker.
I know,
Even in
but in that one, and it's the girl from Kelly Kuko from whatever that nerd
It's a great
show.
series.
It's good. Her and Poison Ivy, and anyway, just watch it. King Shark is great. It's like an Adult Swim
right.
X-rated pretty much cartoon.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But my favorite portrayal of her was in that, and then this movie I felt complimented that, and I mean this could be digging too deep, but I thought it was fucking awesome that like a diplomat or whatever that she ends up fucking and then killing. Like I love that for that kind of character, because
Well, yeah, I mean,
so
that's
many
definitely
times people are like these damaged people because of who they date and exes or whatever, but I thought it was great that even though she is a fucking cuckoo pants, that she was like doing this whole thing like, well, I know that this isn't healthy and like we shouldn't be doing this, so I'm just gonna fucking kill you.
right.
Like,
Which is still very similar to OG Harley. You know what I mean? Like that's something she would do. She was fucking nuts, but smart
no,
nuts.
totally.
You know what I mean?
But in those first two movies, it was like,
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, it's that character has become it is what it is now. So I'm like, okay,
oh
it's
no,
Harley
you
Quinn.
can't pop up Instagram without a million girls with blonde
Yeah,
hair.
I'm
being
like, whatever. And
okay, Mr. J.
yeah, I mean Margot
Yeah,
Robbie
like,
does that character great. She's good at it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever. But I think just the obscure characters probably were people, turn some people off. I don't know. But
I think it's that people aren't really still going to the theaters right now, and that movie would bode well on the big screen.
yeah, there's definitely a big toss up because these movies that come out, you're like, oh, it's like how it was with Godzilla.
That
like,
underperformed too.
Like I need to go see that in the fucking
Right.
theater, which I did. Like I didn't
No.
want to see it at home. I was like, I need to go see it in the theater.
No, and that one did well, but it still vastly underperformed. And
Right.
now there's this whole thing of like, do we release on streaming first day or movies? Like, what do we do? So it's, money is going to be different. If people are paying $150 or $120 for a year of HBO Max and they watch Suicide Squad on the first day, like, what does that mean for sales?
Yeah.
Rather than someone who paid between, depending on where you're living, $5 to $20, or for crazy seats in some IMAX, $40 for a seat per person. Like,
Yeah.
it's vastly different. So, and I think that they aren't really thinking about that in their budgeting and like what they expect. Are people still paying $45 at theaters for the cushy seats that move around, that are
Right,
heated
right.
with blankets and like full service, or $5 for whatever? Like, the people who are gonna leave their house to go see a movie in a pandemic that's kind of re-rising at that point, like, are they the people who spend $5 a person or $40 per person? It's probably
Yeah.
the people who are spending less.
Did anybody catch? Just a side note. Anybody catch the Lloyd Kaufman cameo?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in the bar. It was pretty cool. He was just sitting at the bar and he gets kind of pushed over. And he's just an old man at the bar when they go to the club. I thought that was kind of a cool little nod. I'm not the hugest Lloyd Kaufman fan, but I thought it was pretty cool that he was in there.
No.
Yeah, I did
It
not
was.
notice that. I mean, there's probably a lot of shit I didn't notice about this movie.
I thought that speaking of, I thought this was
he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah, he was.
He was one of the prisoners.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And Mantis was in Suicide Squad too.
She was. She was one of
In
the
the bar.
dancers in the bar. One of the dancers.
In that same scene, like it's like seconds apart.
It's pretty funny. I mean, I love this film. Like, I thought it was exactly what a Suicide Squad movie should be if it's not going to retread Dirty Dozen, which it also did not retread Dirty Dozen, but it takes a lot more elements from that original movie than the last one did in terms of quality. I also liked how they really tried hard to make you sure that anybody could die. Because it did feel like anyone could die.
They did the Drew Barrymore Scream.
Yeah.
But with a lot more people. And thank God, like you said, Pete Davidson was one of them because that fucking guy is so annoying.
Yeah,
You're not a Pete Davidson fan? I
don't
really
get
Dude, I fucking tried to give him a chance with King of Staten Island because I was like, he's going to play himself.
Mhm.
And in movies where comedians or actors play themselves, generally, I end up liking them more.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, I was like, yep, don't like this fucking dude.
But is he? I mean, I don't know.
He is this weird tall white guy who looks like a black albino that cuts himself and is super like unstable all the time. But somehow, this is what pisses me off more about him. He dated, which means he probably slept with my fucking hall pass.
Ariana Grande.
Pisses me off. No. Kate Beckinsale. What the fuck? Who the fuck do you think I am? Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale is gorgeous, and I understand why
She
she's
is literally my hall pass.
She's everyone's hall pass.
And when she started hanging out with him, I was like, come on.
She likes them young.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
she's
nothing.
She's living her truth right now, so go for it. But yeah, I don't. He just
There's no hate. That's what she said.
Oh no, no, they only hung out for 2 weeks, but that was enough to fucking.
Ugh. He just seems like such a prick, like a smarmy little prick,
and a fucking whiny douchebag. Like after his episode, where he like texted he wanted to kill himself or tweeted, like he came back and did that whole bit on Saturday Night Live, like. I know I said that, and I'm really sorry, but mental health is really a serious thing, and I'm going through a hard time. And I'm like, I'm sure. Super hard time, buddy. You're banging like one of the hottest chicks ever, and you're on Saturday Night Live. Your life sucks.
It's funny. I just got a text from Shotzi about about this movie, so she'll be giving a score via text.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like Pete Davidson. And he's just like one of those weirdos that ends up getting like a hot chick.
Sucks.
So then everyone's like, oh my God, like that dude's awesome. And it's like, no, he's not. He's not at all, really. He's just.
No, he sucks.
Yeah, he does suck. So I was real happy. I didn't know he was in this movie before I started watching it. When I saw him, I was like, oh.
No, me neither. And then one of my friends and my boss texted me being like, I can't believe they killed off Pete Davidson so soon. And I was like, really? Because I was really psyched on that. When I saw him, I was like, oh no.
Well,
oh no.
Yeah.
No.
So when he died, I was like, oh my God, sweet. But then they started doing the whole backstory. And I was like, oh no, here he is again. Fuck.
Yeah.
But it was only it was a very short-lived part.
I was a little surprised that there was a trivia point that I did not know that was purposely put in here. As he dies, Javelin tells Harley Quinn that she is the only one fit to carry his javelin, right?
Yeah.
You know why that is? They're the only two villains in this movie who, in the comic books, in their histories, they were Olympian athletes. He was a javelin athlete in the comics, and she was a gymnast in the Olympics when she was young. So that is why he says she's the only athlete. So that's the reason he's like, you're the only one fit to carry my javelin. She's the only athlete.
I thought that was like a normal thing.
No.
I mean, no. I mean, I thought everyone knew. That's why.
No, I didn't remember that she was I didn't know that there was that was a wink and a nod to them both being Olympians turned villains. So, I mean, not that you can't be Olympian doesn't make you a villain. But yeah, so there you go. I don't know. So, I mean, this movie's a lot of fun. I don't think you go to this movie looking for serious deep, but if you want to see a lot of really deep winks and nods to comics and
a lot of gore.
I
love gore. There's so much blood.
And a kaiju, a legitimate kaiju scene, which is pretty epic. It is a total monster movie, and it counts, and it's super fun. So, yeah, I think it's time to rate it.
All right. Who wants to go first?
3.75.
3.75. Okay.
Yeah.
How come?
Because I needed this kind of movie.
Yeah.
I have been let down on so many movies that I was like, just be fun. Just make me laugh a couple times. Just give me bright colors, blood splatters, stupid shit, butthole jokes. No one wants to do that anymore. They want to be all serious and sad or whatever.
Yeah.
Or fun then sad afterwards. Like, I just wanted something that played into all my nostalgia about not Suicide Squad or DC, because I don't give a fuck about either of those. But just something fun, action-packed, silly, a graphic novel on the big screen. Nothing deep.
That is definitely a problem. I was just watching this UK special edition Blu-ray of Fright Night, and Tom Holland's talking about, how he wanted to make it. And he was just like, man, I just want to, like, I was a monster movie fan growing up, and I just wanted to pay homage to, I just wanted to do a monster movie like this fun, like all the shit that I wish would have happened to me when I was young. I wanted to do that. And it's like, dude, exactly what you're saying, Oobzilla. Movies aren't like, not a lot of movies are fun anymore. Like, they always have to be so fucking deep or fucking placate to whatever. And it's like, oh my God, just make something fun and like enjoyable.
Why do I want to watch a movie about a couple that falls in love and someone gets cancer when 3 of my friends have cancer right now?
Right.
Don't need to see that.
Right.
Like, I want to see fun. I want to see a movie I can live vicariously through.
Right. Which even with that new King Kong, you know what I mean?
Totally.
That one was way more fun than the other, like way
all of
more
them.
lighthearted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, just make some of this shit, because there's a lot of people out here that just want to go.
Like, there's a human element.
Right?
Like, give touches of a human element and emotion, sure, but like, shit's going down right now. People are not the happiest. Like, have a little bit of fun. You don't have to make everything the most fucking dramatic,
serious and fucking dramatic.
Yeah, or give a twist that's fucking super depressing and ominous and like why?
Ugh.
Why?
Speaking of twists, you can. Anyone see Old?
No, not yet. Fucking Shamalama Ding Dong.
Yeah.
That's what I call him. I just can't.
Well, yeah,
and the last series, I have liked it because it's been the least twisty. But all of his fucking movies, I'm just like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I mean, it's a typical Shyamalan.
But I have to say, the Mark Wahlberg Zooey Deschanel movie, that was the.
If
He's still
I
the
refrained from
resistance.
seeing that, but yeah. Anyway.
Oh, E, you gotta see that. We gotta do
Yeah.
that one then.
Ugh.
I mean, that fits in with life now. You know, the
We could
world's
just do
turning
like a
against
whole.
you.
We could do an episode and just rate his. I mean, we all know what number
Well,
one's gonna be, so that's not even fair. But
that's fine as long as we actually do a theme song with Shamalama Ding Dong.
oh yeah, shamalam, 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 ding dong. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm.
Dip, dip, dip.
Okay, I have
Dip, dip,
3
dip, dip,
more
dip.
bonus bits of trivia that I think need to be mentioned.
Do it.
See, Dom hasn't been listening to E and I. He's been just like Googling stuff, and now he's really, really happy and probably tighten his pants. So we're gonna let him.
No, this one's pretty good. So
Let
in
it out.
1983, DC Comics purchased the rights to several characters from Charlton Comics, including Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, and The Question, among others. At the same time, Alan Moore was doing Watchmen. The story he wanted to feature Charlton's characters, and Peacemaker was supposed to be in that movie. In fact, the original title was called Who
There it
Killed
is.
Peacemaker, but it was actually they DC decided against it, and he wanted him to create his own version of the characters, so he created the Comedian based off Peacemaker. So Comedian is who dies in
Comedian?
Watch. Yeah, the Comedian is essentially a version of Peacemaker, which I think is interesting. Second point that I thought was worth mentioning is that the original villain intended for this movie was not Starro, it was Superman. The only reason it didn't end up being Superman is they weren't sure if they could get Henry
Nick
Cavill
Cage
back.
could do it.
Yeah,
right?
Totally could have been Nick Cage, which
They
he
could-
would have fit way better in this movie than fucking
Dude, Nick Cage
Henry
is in
Calville or
fucking
whatever his
great.
name is.
It is currently uncertain whether Henry Cavill will continue to be in the extended universe, and DC revealed that is still where his took place. So there was no certainty of Superman, but originally Superman was going to be the villain, which I think would have been cool. That's when he came up with Starro, who also was the very first villain ever featured in Justice League. The final trivia that I will say is that this movie has not been approved for a sequel, but there is a follow-up TV show coming out on HBO Max called The Peacemaker. John Cena will be doing a spin-off series, and so you'll see your favorite character some more, E, if you choose to watch this.
Yeah, probably
series.
won't because it's John Cena. But
Oh, there
man,
you
if
go.
they had Superman in this, it would have totally changed the movie. This movie
It
was
would've.
too goofy to put you know what I mean?
It would have been it would have been interesting. That would have been interesting. Starro was pretty crazy as it was. But okay, so my rating, I'm going to for the portrayals, the unexpected gore, the surprising fact that it was a monster movie, and the accuracy to the crazy characters that it references to the comics, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4.
Holy shit.
Entertaining. And I would totally watch it.
Yeah.
God
So I'm going
damn.
to give it a 4 because
Oh,
it
man.
is researched, it is true to the characters, it is super funny, and it captured Suicide Squad. So I think it's the best Harley Quinn yet. I
Yeah,
think
man.
Definitely the best
Me-
Harley Quinn yet.
Me and Shotzi are going to be the wet blanket on this.
that's all right. Be the wet blanket. But yeah, comic
I
accuracy.
mean, you
fought it
usually
a lot.
are, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've listened to your own podcast, but
Yeah. Well,
He is the
So-
wet blanket.
if I cared about anyone in this movie, character wise, probably would have been, maybe could have been a little higher. I don't know. I just don't
I
care
don't give a
about.
fuck about any of them, and I give it a 3.75.
Yeah, it's high. I'm gonna give it. I gave it a 2, which is
What?
entertaining. Yeah, a C on my scale. You know, it's entertaining, but I just don't care about this universe at all, or these characters, or like anything. I could watch it and was like, oh yeah, it's entertaining. I wouldn't watch it again. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So it's 2 cute zombie starfish monsters.
What did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Guardians of the Galaxy, I liked because I like the actors more and the characters more.
Wow, I didn't think you were that square.
Yeah.
what did Shotzi
But he
give it?
does love, but he loves Elvis. So this makes sense.
Yeah.
He is a little on the square mainstream spectrum.
I mean,
I don't
Alright,
know.
so what does Shotzi say?
Elvis was a gun shooting, drug doing pervert.
Yeah,
So that's pretty not square.
Pedophile, but he was also the king of rock and roll.
Who
and
wasn't?
Everyone loves
Who wasn't?
him.
All our grandparents were. That's what they did back
I know,
then.
of course, but everybody loves him. Mainstream.
so what does
Go
Shotzi
on.
give it?
What Shotzi give it?
Oh, 1.5.
1.5.
She actually
Really
fell
low.
asleep.
She
was
fell
like,
asleep at the void and then ended up loving the void. It doesn't make
yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think this movie was interesting to her at all. She's not the biggest comic book fan of any sorts. So,
Mhm.
nor is she a
Yeah,
big
but you
Harley
think
Quinn
she'd like
fan.
action.
Yeah,
just-
but
Stupid action and fart jokes and shit jokes. That seems
if
up her alley.
what's his name was in it? Who's the guy? Chris Pratt. If Chris Pratt was in it, it would be a higher score. She loves Chris Pratt, but
Well, that puts
Oh,
us
he's
as
so ugly though.
that puts
and
us
so
as
Christian.
an average of 2.8.
He actually says that he's not friends with people who aren't Christian. That's weird.
That's weird. He didn't
Hmm.
always used to be like that. That just came after he married Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
No. That's why him and Anna Faris separated. One of the big reasons. They were both super Christian, but he like went overboard. He literally like doesn't want to be associated with people who are not devout anymore, and started saying he doesn't want to do movies with people who aren't devout. He's like very, 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 very
everyone's got their
Christian.
thing.
Weird.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So 1.5.
so that's a 2.8 average out of the Monster Candy podcast. So that puts us square right in the middle. Kind of defaults to kind of a floating 3, really. But yeah, 2.8. That's the mean. So you heard it here first, everybody.
I can
D
agree with that.
plus.
Yeah, 2.8 out of 5.
Team Homelander,
That's
Team Peacemaker,
very uncomfortable.
hashtag titty
Very
milk.
uncomfortable.
You can't
Very.
say you like a Peacemaker if you didn't
I
give this
don't-
a good score.
I
It means
just
you like part of this movie.
Yeah. A 2 is a C in my thing. D is a 1, and anything less is just a complete fail.
1 is F, 2 is D,
Mm-mm.
3
One
is
is
C,
1 is D,
4
2 is
is
C,
B, 5 is
3
A.
3 is B, 4 is A, and 5 is 100%. Means it's perfect.
A is 100%.
No, it could be 90%.
No.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
And on that note, everyone, thank you so much for listening to Monster Candy Podcast. Think about to yourselves whether 1 is an F or 1 is a D.
1 is an F.
So, I guess it's possible to rate it 0.
FDCBA. 5.
Let us
What
know in
about
the
E?
comments of who you think is correct and what rating system should be observed, because it seems that we
And-
all have
And
different.
E is a D minus. E.
All right, that's it, everybody. This has been Monster Candy Podcast. You heard it here, the Suicide Squad. See it if you want to.
Titty milk.
And on that thought, think about how E feels Homelander is the most sympathetic character on The Boys.
Oh yeah. Get some titty milk.
It really gets me.
Mm,
All right,
getting
talk to you
thirsty.
guys later. Thanks for listening.
Weird rapist, booby drinking,
Getting
baby
thirsty.
boy.
All right, see you next time. Wow. You've been listening to Monster Candy Podcast. Want to find out more about the show? Find us on the web at monstercandypodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Monster Candy Podcast. And you can find our Twitter at MonsterCNDYPC. Hey, we couldn't fit the whole name. What do you want from us? Let us know what you think of the show and if we're right or if we're wrong or what you want us to tackle next. We want to hear from you. Well,
Shotzi and I do, but I can promise that E doesn't really care. To find out more about Shotzi Blackheart and her professional wrestling, follow her Twitter at Shotzi Black or her Instagram at Shotzi Blackheart. You can follow Screamin E's band, the Memphis Murder Men, on Facebook at TMMM official page or his Instagram at Screamin E. That's screaming with no G, add the E. For me, Dominic Davy, you can find my artwork at dominicdavy.com, my band Tsunami Bomb at tsunamibomb.net, and you can hear my other podcast, 3 Gigs, at 3gigspodcast.com or on the same platform you're hearing this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Monster Candy Podcast.
Suck my peanuts.